Every human being believes they know themselves. We describe ourselves with simple labels: kind, honest, calm, friendly, moral. But beneath these carefully constructed identities lies something most people refuse to acknowledge: a hidden self, a darker, quieter part of the psyche that rarely reveals itself in daylight. It is the part of you that feels jealousy when someone else succeeds, the part that secretly enjoys seeing an enemy fail, the part that holds anger, resentment, pride, and desires you would never admit publicly. Most people spend their entire lives pretending this part of themselves does not exist. But according to the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, this hidden dimension of the mind is not only real, it is one of the most powerful forces shaping our lives. Jung called it the shadow. And the strange truth is this: the more we try to ignore the shadow, the more control it gains over us. From childhood, society teaches us which parts of ourselves are acceptable. Children quickly learn that some behaviors are praised, while others are rejected. Kindness is rewarded. Anger is punished. Humility is admired. Pride is criticized. Slowly, without realizing it, we begin constructing a version of ourselves that the world approves of. We learn to hide the traits that might make others uncomfortable: aggression, envy, selfishness, ambition. Instead of acknowledging these impulses, we push them deeper into the unconscious mind. But repressing something does not destroy it. It simply buries it. And buried things have a strange habit of returning in unexpected ways. Have you ever overreacted to something small and wondered why? Have you ever disliked someone instantly without understanding the reason? Have you ever judged someone harshly for a behavior you secretly struggle with yourself? These reactions often reveal something deeper. They reveal the shadow. The hidden parts of our personality do not disappear. They wait quietly beneath the surface of consciousness, until the moment they find a way to express themselves. Sometimes through anger, sometimes through projection, sometimes through behaviors we barely recognize as our own. The frightening part is that most people never realize this process is happening. They believe their reactions are justified. They believe their emotions are logical. But Jung believed that many human conflicts are not caused by the external world, but by the parts of ourselves we refuse to face. Carl Jung believed that every human being carries a psychological shadow. The shadow represents the traits we reject, suppress, or deny within ourselves. It is the unconscious container of everything our conscious mind refuses to accept. But Jung did not see the shadow as purely evil. In fact, he believed it was an essential part of the human psyche. The shadow contains our darker impulses, but it also contains hidden strengths: creativity, passion, courage, authenticity. When these parts are rejected, they do not disappear. Instead, they shape our behavior from behind the scenes. Jung famously warned, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." In other words, if we refuse to acknowledge our shadow, it will quietly influence our choices, emotions, and relationships without our awareness. The shadow is not the enemy. The real danger lies in pretending it does not exist. To understand the shadow, imagine the mind as a house. The rooms we show to the world are clean and carefully arranged. This is the part of ourselves we proudly display: our personality, our beliefs, our social identity. But beneath the house lies a basement, a dark storage space where everything unwanted is hidden. Old memories, uncomfortable emotions, embarrassing desires, things we decided were unacceptable. This basement is the shadow, and the longer it remains locked away, the more pressure builds within it. One of the most common ways the shadow reveals itself is through projection. Projection occurs when we see our own rejected traits in other people. For example, a person who secretly struggles with arrogance might constantly accuse others of being arrogant. Someone who denies their own selfishness might become obsessed with criticizing selfish behavior in others. What we hate most in other people often reflects something unresolved within ourselves. Jung believed that much of human conflict arises from this unconscious projection. Instead of recognizing our shadow, we fight it in the external world. We blame others, we judge others, we attempt to destroy the reflection without realizing it originates within us. But there is another path. Instead of rejecting the shadow, Jung believed we must integrate it. Shadow integration does not mean acting out destructive impulses. It means acknowledging them honestly. It means recognizing that we are capable of both kindness and cruelty, both compassion and selfishness, both humility and pride. When we accept this complexity, something powerful happens. The shadow loses its ability to control us unconsciously. Instead of being driven by hidden impulses, we become aware of them, and awareness brings choice. A person who understands their anger can channel it into courage. A person who understands their ambition can direct it toward meaningful goals. A person who recognizes their darkness becomes less likely to harm others unknowingly. Paradoxically, confronting the shadow does not make someone darker. It makes them more conscious, more balanced, more human. Jung believed that this process is a crucial step in what he called individuation. Individuation is the journey of becoming a whole person. Not a perfect person, not a purely good person, but a person who understands the full spectrum of their own nature. The tragedy is that many people spend their entire lives running from this confrontation. They cling to a false image of themselves. They pretend their darker impulses belong only to others. But in doing so, they remain strangers to their own minds. True self-knowledge requires courage, because the moment we turn inward honestly, we begin to see parts of ourselves we would rather ignore. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Growth does not come from pretending we are pure. It comes from acknowledging that we are complex. Every human being carries light and shadow, compassion and cruelty, wisdom and ignorance. The goal of personal growth is not to eliminate the shadow. That is impossible. The goal is to face it, to understand it, to integrate it into a conscious and balanced life. Because the shadow we refuse to confront will always find a way to control us. But the shadow we recognize becomes a source of strength. In the end, the path to becoming whole is not about escaping the darkness within. It is about walking into it with open eyes and discovering that within that darkness lies the missing pieces of who we truly are.